Pastor Roy Gerhart from Galloway United Methodist Church in Franklin, Pennsylvania, sharing a few words of encouragement to help us follow after Jesus. A lot of things in life don't make a lot of sense. I mean, when you look out in the world today, there are lots of things that it's like, why do things go that way? Trying to sort out what politicians are doing, even trying to understand the direction that your boss is giving you during the day. It's like, this doesn't make sense. I don't know why I'm doing this. And there are even times whenever teachers are trying to instruct and school us in life, and it just doesn't make sense. I remember 7th grade algebra. Made no sense at all to me. I mean, I could do the formulas, but juggling numbers and letters back and forth just made no sense to me. I thought, this is pointless. It wasn't until I got to geometry and physics that I began to realize that those formulas could really be helpful. You could figure out things with them. And all of a sudden, this thing that I thought was pointless had a great deal of usefulness that could be applied in life. Well, there are lots of things like that. Some things do make sense once you get the big picture. And that's true whenever we're trying to follow the Lord in our lives. Many times, the way that God is leading us doesn't immediately make sense to us. It demands of us a trust that God is really working things out. We saw that with the people of God as he was leading them out of slavery in Egypt. There were things that God did immediately in leading them that wouldn't have made any sense to them. Even if he had explained it up front, it wouldn't have made sense. And I'm sure for some of them, even as God led them through pathways where he put his power on display, it made no sense to them. They still struggled to understand what God was truly doing. But God was moving with a very carefully planned strategy. You know, like a good general who would choose the time and the place for a great battle to create the advantage for that victory. God has a very carefully worked out strategy to lead his people as they exit Egypt. The first thing God did was defer from a certain battle. We saw yesterday that God made sure that he didn't lead the people on the shortest route back to Israel and to their homeland, because that might have put them into a battle with the Philistines, and the road back to Egypt would have been a straight line. And the temptation to turn around and go back to that old way of life might have been just too great. And so God instead led them out and wandering through kind of a backwoodsy wilderness space. And so by day, he put a cloud in front of them. By night, a fire. And the Lord began to lead them on a journey that they couldn't anticipate the next step. But they had to follow God step by step in whatever direction he led them day and night. And ultimately, God led them to a place that everyone had to look at it and say, what a botch up. I mean, how crazy to lead them to a place where they literally are caught between a rock and a hard place. The people of Israel end up facing a body of water they can't cross. And about that time, Pharaoh shows up. He's changed his mind again. He's going to come and punish them and take them back. And so now there they are, with Pharaoh's army breathing down their necks and nowhere to go. It seems as if there's nowhere that they can go back to and nowhere that they can go forward to. But that's when God opened the way forward. He opened up that pathway through the sea and led them through it. And then the Lord closed that door behind them. And when those waters closed, there was no way that they could go back again. No way to go back to Egypt. He is going to lead them forward from that point onward. And so that if they get on down the road and want to retreat, want to turn back, they can't go any further back than that point. And what is that point? That's the point where God won the victory. That's the place where God showed them his power and his ability to overcome obstacles in their life. God is setting them up in a place where they can no longer retreat back to slavery in Egypt, but they can retreat back to the place where they find a bedrock for their lives, a bedrock of faith, where God showed them that he could rescue them no matter what. That's the way God is leading you and me. He wants to lead us forward in our lives, building upon those points of victory in our life. And so God will lead you and I into places where we have to trust him and let him guide us step by step, into places where he is the one who has to win the victory. He has to step in and show us that he is able. And with that, we find that instead of falling all the way back to our old way of life, we have a stop point, a place where God showed us his victory that we build forward from. May God bless you today, and as you share this good news, may God make you a blessing wherever he takes you.